Welcome to my third episode of Find Your Purpose. This isn't something that I think is easy at all. I mean, it's taken me 23 years to find a sense of purpose, and I've always been looking for something in my life to kind of drive me. Potentially now I might have something that I feel is driving me, and that could change. That's fine, but I know where my values lie and how strong and how dedicated I am to fulfilling these values. The one thing that hasn't changed is my values and knowing what is necessary of me and myself to be able to achieve the things that I want in life. I know who I'm doing it for. I know why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. The main reason why any of us do anything that we do in this life is because of the reward systems that we benefit from completing out those actions. Neurologically, it comes down to dopamine reward systems. Our bodies are very, very much interconnected with our actions, and how our actions influence our neurological behaviors as well. And that's why we keep continuously doing behaviors, because of the dopamine reward system that's fed out through that. There was a study that was done that looked at the dopamine reward coding based on the stimuli and how the stimuli predicts their dopamine reward signals. I'm going to link the study below because it is quite interesting if you are interested in that type of thing. Basically, they looked at the adaptive coding of reward value by dopamine neurons. Responses in dopamine shift relative to their expected reward value. It kind of links back to us and how our bodies behave when we expect a certain reward. We assume that the reward is going to be great. So potentially even before we've taken the drug or before we've actually done what we need or gotten what we need to from that stimuli, our dopamine levels shoot up. The thing that we become addicted to is the moments before we receive that stimuli. I mean, of course, there's other factors that come into it. For example, our serotonin levels, the fact that certain hormone chemicals and neurological chemicals are decreased when we take certain drugs, like nicotine, for example. The lack of nicotine in our brain makes us want the drug more so that we can replenish what's lost. But the point I'm trying to make is that one of the key reasons we fail to maintain certain habits in our life is because we assume the reward before we get it, or before we get to where we want to get to. And we're adapted to chase after the largest reward that we can achieve. So we want the best car, or we want the nicest body, or we want the biggest house ever, and we think if we do this one thing, we're gonna get there. But we end up doing that one thing and we realize, oh shit, it's gonna take a lot more work than what I thought it was going to take, and I haven't received the rewards instantaneously like I thought I was going to. But then when we realize how much work it actually takes to put in, or how difficult it becomes to maintain, it's not as easily achievable as we thought it could have been. And we look for the next greatest process, and it keeps changing and changing and changing and changing again. Here's the first thing you need to remember. You can do anything in this life. Whether you want to be an astronaut, if you want to be a singer, you want to be a dancer, you want to be a football player, NBA, I don't know, whatever it is, you can do it. You can do anything that you want in this life, but you can't do everything. I used to want to do everything. I wanted to get into acting, I wanted to get into skateboarding, I wanted to get into ice skating. I wanted to do so many different things, and I'm really, really interested in them. And it's not to say that I can't do that. I mean, I can go and practice skateboarding, I can go and practice acting, I can go and practice dancing, I can do whatever I want to do. But for me to actually fulfill and succeed in something, I need to stick to one thing and work on that as much as humanly possible to be able to achieve and reap the rewards to the extreme extent. So rather than just relying on my dopamine system, I need to realize that it's not going to be like that the whole way through. It's going to take some work. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to be difficult at first, until I get into the habit of it, until I get into the routine, and it becomes like walking. You need to find your personal value. And when I say that, I mean you need to explore yourself deeply, vividly, as much as possible, and find core reasons for existing. That might sound a bit intense, and it is meant to be intense. It's meant to be a lot of work. It's not meant to be simple. And I don't want to hear things like money. I don't want to hear fame. I don't want to hear none of that. Nothing materialistic. If I was to ask you to trade your life for money, you wouldn't do it. If I was to ask you to trade your mum for money, you wouldn't do it. Money is not the most important thing in your life. There is something important that you are living for, that you want to achieve in this life. Find the core reasons, the core values, and write them down and figure out, why do you want to get to where you want to get to? For what purpose? Who is it for? Why are you doing it? You need to find something and use that to drive your entire being. Imagine the ultimate rewards that you were able to achieve. You need to maintain it, you need to improve it, you need to embellish it, perfect it as much as possible so that you can get to where you're getting to through that one thing. And once you've gotten there, you know you've gotten there, work on something else. There's always little pit stops, there's always something more you can do, but focus on one thing for right now instead of focusing on a billion different things. It was Bruce Lee that said, "I'm not afraid of the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks one time. I'm afraid of the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." You will only be amazing at something if you stick to it 1000% and you do everything in your power to know everything there is to know about it. That you can become the expert in it, and you can then teach and impart your wisdom onto other people. And that's where you are able to gain more value from that field, because you're able to pass that on to more people. Find that one thing, stick to it, and don't let any other opinions or any other voices, especially yourself, that tell you you can't do it. I guarantee you, if you find one thing that you love or you care about or you have a passion towards, and you stick to it and you dedicate every single ounce of your being towards achieving what you need to achieve, you will get there. Or you probably will fail. You'll probably have pit stops. You'll probably have points where you're like, this isn't working out for me, I can't do what I need to do right now. But you need to overcome that. The power comes from overcoming it. That's the most difficult part. And if you can get back up once you fell over, there's nothing that can stop you. If you keep going, you fall down, you get back up, you take another step. You fall down, you get back up, you take another step. Don't focus on how long it's going to take you to get there. Don't focus on how many other people are doing it, or how many other people have gotten to where they've already gotten to, or done what they've already needed to do. That's not your problem. Your problem is, why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? Or what can you do to help other people through what you're trying to achieve doing what you do? Marcus Aurelius, an incredible philosopher. All of your most highly cherished dreams can become a reality so long as you can help enough of those around you get to their personal mountaintops. I was watching a lecture with Jordan Peterson, and it was about the sacrifices of Cain and Abel. Ultimately, he explained how their sacrifices impacted their rewards from God. What struck me, though, is how he described the sincerity of their sacrifices directly impacting their reward from God. So God didn't accept Cain's sacrifice. Some people say he sacrificed some corn from his land. Some people say he sacrificed some hay. I don't know what it was. But ultimately, he offered fruit from the ground. But Abel had offered his healthiest lamb. And you can bring this back to purpose, because you can immediately notice when someone's only doing things for the materialistic reward. When people are only doing things for admiration, you can tell. For example, Cain offered fruit from the land. That sacrifice in God's eyes wasn't enough, because it wasn't really a sacrifice. Whereas Abel offered something that he knew he cared about and he knew he had to give up to be able to reap and achieve the greatest rewards that he could get from God. Similarly, when we sacrifice the smallest things in our life, the rewards that we get aren't going to be great. You found your purpose, or you found the passion in something that you really want to do. If, let's say, it's makeup, you're not really sacrificing the time to learn more about makeup. You're not really sacrificing the time to go out and figure out who the best person is at makeup and trying to be like them. All you're doing is that you know you're a pretty person. You know that you can do makeup. So you start posting on Instagram, or you start posting on YouTube or whatever. And you're just doing the minimal amount that you could do to get to where you want to get to. The reason why you're not going to get that far is because your sacrifice isn't great. You're not knowing everything that you need to know about it. And don't get me twisted, there are some people that do end up achieving the most that they can achieve through those smaller sacrifices, but they're not genuine. And this is another thing as well that's really important, is that authenticity is very, very important. You can tell when someone's being authentic in their craft. Let's take Cristiano Ronaldo, Muhammad Ali, Elon Musk even. Like, they've got a wide set of admirers, so many people that follow them and are inspired by them because of the way that they have achieved their craft. There's genuine authenticity in their sacrifices to be able to get to where they're getting, or doing what they're able to do now. I mean, they're incredible people who have done everything that they can do. Michael Jordan, they've sacrificed so much to be able to be at the level that they are currently at right now. Whereas people that haven't sacrificed that much, let's just say, they might be famous or they might have admirers per se, but there's not a strong level of influence. It's kind of an empty value. Ultimately, it just decreases their sincerity and their support within the community, because they've become something which happened with much less sacrifice. Your sacrifice towards your goals will directly impact the rewards that you receive from those sacrifices. Without a purpose or a goal, though, you lose sight of what actually matters. Greater than that, even, you lose sight of yourself. And when you begin to do things to impress or live up to other people's expectations, you want to prove a point to others, and you live towards proving a point to other people rather than proving a point to yourself. But don't do the minimalistic thing that you can do to just get by. Sacrifice, and make sure that sacrifice is a great sacrifice to be able to get to where you need to get to. The difficulty isn't in finding what it is that you want to do. The difficulty is finding the discipline to stick to that and focus on it every single day. So let's recap on this quickly. Find your passion. What comes easily to you? Remember that your dopamine reward system usually drives what you want to do in this life. And rather than focusing just on the reward, focus on the journey and how you're able to get to where you want to get to. Who do you do it for? And who is around you that needs your help? Who can you support? What are the people that you want to support around you that can benefit from what you know and the wisdom that you can impart on them? And what do you want? How can you use your drive and your passion to improve the lives of those around you? You'd be surprised at how unlimited that this is. There is no limitations whatsoever. There is nothing stopping you from being able to get to where you get to. There is something out there for everybody. Someone will listen. Someone will be interested. There's so many people out there in the world. You just need to find who your audience is. What people do you want to help in your life? If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. Find one thing that you so desperately care about and focus on that 100%. I'm going to leave that there for today. Thank you so much for watching. Honestly, please do like, comment, subscribe, and share the video where you can. Thank you so much.